Well, that
Some people say,
and consumption levels.
well, I actually found that if I had a mead that had been properly stabilized, I didn't get a hangover, and if I had ones that had absolutely no additives to them, I did get hangovers. So, what affects who? Every mead's different, every body's different.
Well, yeah. But drink 3 bottles of anything, and I think you're going to have a hangover the next day.
Oh, you certainly deserve one, whether you get one or not. Yeah. But with aging, you can either age it in the carboy or age it in the bottle. Aging in the carboy generally is more consistent results because each bottle can be a little bit different depending on where they're stored, how they're stored. The one at the front of the box that gets the sunlight in the morning could be different from the one at the very end of the batch that got a little bit of the dregs in when you bottled it. That's what I mean by inconsistencies in the bottling. If you bulk age, you should, at whenever you bottle at least, it should pretty much all be exactly the same at bottling time. Now, what happens in the bottle after that, who knows?
Yeah.
But what aging can do is round out some of those really harsh alcohols and make them mellower. And also, I have not noticed this myself because I generally just age everything for a while because I never get around to drinking anything quickly anyways. But a lot of times, especially when you're looking at a dry traditional, the honey flavor will be gone. And, all you'll taste is alcohol, and it's like, where did my beautiful mead go? And if you just give it 6 months to a year, then the honey flavor will come back.
Yeah, I had that happen with a very dry mead. And it sat for a year, and then I was going to taste it just so that I could just say, all right, I'm going to get rid of this, or I'm going to distill it, or whatever. And lo and behold, it was mead again. It was amazing, an amazing transformation, really was.
Yeah, I haven't witnessed this myself, but I think it's probably happened. I just haven't noticed when it has, because I don't go into my carboys often enough.
Right.
But
you have so many.
Yeah, I do, and some of them are hard to reach. Let's see, we didn't really talk about back sweetening, but if you find you've got a batch that's really, really too dry and you just don't like it that way, you can back sweeten, but you really, really need to stabilize it first. If you're going to add sugar, stabilize it first. Or if sugar, honey, whatever. Stabilize it first, otherwise you will end up with, well, you won't. It's not a definite thing if you have actually gotten your yeast to their capacity and not past. But you really do want to stabilize it before you add anything else because you really, really do not want more fermentation happening after you've bottled your mead. That can be really dangerous. The closest I've come is I've had one batch where I had 3 corks pop. All the other bottles were fine on that one, but I had 3 corks pop on one batch.
And that's if you're using corks. If you're using crown caps like I do, you're just making hand grenades that can really hurt somebody, pop an eye out, that kind of thing.
Pop an eye out.
Exactly.
It can be. I had 3 bottles. They were in a cooler. I went to a Ren fair and I took half a case of mead with me, and I put the bottles in a cooler with ice because it was a warm day, and so they're in the cooler, and they were crown capped. And those suckers exploded in the cooler.
Yep.
And the cooler, I kid you not, was basically looked like a shrapnel bomb had exploded in there. It was ridiculous. And thank God they were in the cooler and not in my car, without the cooler, because my car would have been shredded.
Or in your hand.
Or in my hand, yeah, exactly. And I've had ones with corks in the basement where I've gone downstairs and it looks like somebody was murdered in my basement because there's raspberry meat all over the floor, So, yeah, you got to be careful. Make sure it's done before you put it in the bottle.
Right.
Yeah, and personally, I don't even trust the stabilization. I always leave it at least another week or 2 before if I stabilize it, I sweeten it, and then a week or 2 later, making sure that the specific gravity hasn't changed, then I'll bottle it.
Well, and I'm big into the whole bulk aging thing. I really think that if you age everything together as opposed individually in bottles, that you get a more uniform and possibly a better, although I haven't been able to prove that one way or the other, aging. I mean, there's two camps on that, obviously, just like there's with anything else. But so I just basically, once I've racked off of all the lees, so that I'm not going to get that sour note that you get, from setting on the lees. But once I've gotten it off all the grunge, and I've got a clean batch, then I'll just put it in a carboy. Once it drops clear, rack it one last time, and then let it sit in that carboy for a couple of months. If I don't have a need to drink it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I have been known to suck off a bottle here or there to take to a party or something like that. But I'll do that. And so when it goes in the bottle, it's dead done.
Oh.
Yeah. Before you put it in a bottle that you can't let off the pressure, make sure it's done. Like, Joe's Ancient Orange is about the only one that I don't stabilize, even though I know it's sweet, because the bread yeast is pretty honest about when it's done. Of the 40 or so batches I've made with bread yeast, I've only had 2 that got a little bit fizzy in the bottle. And I almost always bottle those in something with a screw top so I can check on them every month or so. And if you crack the seal and it goes tss, then you better crack the seal on all of them and just give them a chance to air out.
Yeah, I've had a few that when I cracked them, I had wondered, well, there's still a stain on my ceiling from and my ceilings are like 13 feet, so that tells you something.
Nice one.
Yeah, it was a very energetic bottle. Thank God it was in the sink, because at least most of it landed in the sink. But and I've had more than a few that have just burbled up out of the neck when I've opened them too. Not terribly energetic, but enough to make a mess.
Yeah, I had the very first traditional I ever made. It wasn't pressurized; it never popped corks. But if you opened it and poured it, it was fizzy.
Oh, fun!
Yeah.
It was really weird.
And then,
you'd
sometimes
open
that's
it.
a good thing,
Well, the thing is, you'd open it and it'd be fine, and you could swirl it around and it wouldn't do anything. And then I stuck a sanitized chopstick in it, and it went poosh like Coke and Mentos all over the place.
Oh my God!
And it hit me, it hit the kitchen table, it hit the carpet, it hit the kitchen floor all the way to the sink, and I lost 2/3 of the bottle.
Holy cats!
And that was from sticking a chopstick in to stir it around, because I knew. And that was the 4th bottle that I had stuck a thing in to stir. So it's not like this was the first one. The whole batch was like that, so I had uncorked them all, and I was very gently stirring them to degas them a little bit, because obviously I hadn't properly degassed them, and, they weren't quite as done as I thought they'd been. And they never really popped any corks, but boy, did that one bottle make an awful mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've never done a lot of, deliberate degassing. I mean, I do, in the first third, I'm stirring a lot because, I'm aerating the yeast and making sure they've got plenty of oxygen. But I don't stir much at all once I get into the latter part of the fermentation. So I'm not really doing a lot of that there.
I like to give it a good stir at least once before I rack it, even when I think it's done. And then, I stir it, I give it a good stir, and then I let it sit for, a week, and then I'll rack it. Or, overnight at least.
I guess I always just figured racking it kind of took care of that, so I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, well, I did actually this batch that I'm drinking right now, the maple mead, it sat in a carboy for a year, because that's my usual way of doing things, is rack it into the carboy and let it sit a year.
Don't do as she does, do as she says.
And, I figured it was done, and, it wasn't going to get any clearer. It wasn't perfectly clear, but it wasn't, I racked it, and it didn't make any, I racked it, and it was clear on the bottom, and then I put it in bottles, and 2 days later I got sediment in all my bottles.
Wow.
Because yeast are just ornery that way.
Well, you see that. You even see that at the professional level. One of the things Pete talked about, he went cruising around and looking at different professional meads, commercial meads, and he found a large percentage of them had sedimentation. And, these are guys that are running their mead through, large commercial filters, so you got to figure it's supposed to take everything out, but apparently not. They're, yeast are stubborn critters, so,
Well, that, and there's things other than yeast as well, like in, red wines sometimes you'll see a coating on the inside of the bottle that's a little bit reddish.
Yeah.
That's the tannins, and I don't think that filters out either.
No, it precipitates.
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Because I've actually got a bottle from Celestial in Alaska, and it's got this long streak of red spooge on the side of the bottle, that just
Yeah.
kind of hangs out there. I've been working my way through the bottle, and you know, and it's just there. It doesn't really affect the taste of the mead. It doesn't look real pretty, but it's, you know,
Right.
it's what it is. You know, I mean, I think there's just things that, you know, had to be worked out. Now, obviously, on a home level, you know, it just depends on how far do you want to take it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're getting to the close of our show, aren't
we're
we?
way past close of
Yeah.
our show. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
we're like 11 minutes over, so we
Yep.
probably.
Want me to
should-
read your commercial?
Yes, please do.
All right. Did you know that in addition to running Got Mead, Vicky's actually a marketing specialist? With her company, Craft Beverage Marketing, she specializes in working with craft beverage companies making mead, cider, beer, wine, and spirits to find the best and most profitable ways to reach your customers and turn them into raving fans who will buy your products as fast as you can make them. And she will work with you to craft the plan to make it happen. Check it out. Go to craftbevmarketing.com and grab a complimentary session with her to get some great ideas on marketing your craft beverage business.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I only have her read that because she says out.
Check it out.
It sounds really cool. Okay, so upcoming events. I see somebody added the Got Mead Bomb Challenge. So you guys want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we decided a couple of weeks ago that June 1st we were all going to make a bomb. And
Okay.
someone was asking on, and because you've got the yeast, and I've had it sitting in my fridge for like a year now, and I've been meaning to do something about it. So tomorrow we're making our damn meads.
Shit, I
'Cause
gotta
this is
run
the
down
kick
to
in-
the, I gotta run to the brew shop. I don't have the
This-
yeast.
This is the kick in the ass that a bunch of us needed to actually start making one, because
Thanks
you know
for
a bunch of
letting
us
me
have never
know,
done it
you
before.
know. I mean, geez, I've never made one, and I've been meaning to. So, thank you for the heads up. I'll just race my ass down to the down to the brew shop tomorrow.
You said you were going to get it. Anyway,
Yeah, I
you've
did.
been,
Yeah,
you've been
just
busy. I
haven't-
know.
yeah, but I've got to run out. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow.
You've been
anyway,
busy.
So,
Anyway, so
gives me
we've
an
got the bomb
excuse.
challenge, and I think it was Mortar who was asking on the forum if this was going to have a bottle exchange component to it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say no. If you want to afterwards, comparing notes with people and send people a bottle here and there, yeah, sure, fine, go ahead. But we're not gonna make it we're not gonna make it like the group brew where it was a bottle exchange from the beginning. If you want to exchange bottles with a few members, then go right ahead. That's fine. But it's a logistical and expensive endeavor to do a bottle exchange, so we're not going to make anybody do that. We just thought it'd be a cool idea if anybody was anybody who needed the kick in the arse to actually go and make a bomb, do it tomorrow.
Okay, and
Or,
so
no, within the next
when you post your bomb recipe that you're going to use in the Got Mead forums, post it in the recipe section, not in the patron recipe section because we want this to be accessible to everybody. Post it in the recipe section and title it, listen guys, title it Got Mead Bomb Challenge and then the name of the recipe so we know what it is. And then, then go from there and do your normal recipe. Create put the recipe list and all of his stuff, and then follow up with your log as you do it. So, but make sure you put in there Got Mead Bomb Challenge : the recipe name. Don't come to me later and go, I need you to change the title because I didn't do it right, because I will sneer at you and tell you didn't listen. So, I will too. I will sneer at them. I sneer really well.
The other thing you can do is there's a couple of threads talking about it. Go on there and post it there, and just put a link to your brew log.
Okay, that'll work.
You know, that's another way if for anybody who wants to be in the bomb challenge. Just put a link to your brew log, and then anybody who's looking through that particular thread can find your brew log through the thread.
Yeah, and if you're doing a new recipe in your brew log, then again, put Got Mead Bomb Challenge and the recipe name so that people know that that's part of the challenge and they'll be looking for that. You know, and it'll be something that they can also search Got Mead Bomb Challenge. Oh, what a concept. This is me
All right.
just a little bit. Okay, so all right, upcoming stuff. Starlight Meadery in Carborough, North Carolina, which is one of my home meaderies here, is always having events. So go to starlightmeadery.com and check out what's going on for them. They're constantly doing new stuff. Let me see. The movie night's already over with. 810 Meadworks. They've got stuff like every week, and they've got bands and stuff. So 810meadworks.com. Check it out.